giving you a voice.
It's day one of the End Bad Governance protest, and Nigerians have turned out en masse to protest against the rising cost of living and economic hardship in the country. Welcome to My School News. My name is Hyacinth Fortune Ngozi, and we'll be discussing the ongoing protest, its repercussions on the country, and its expected outcomes. Here with me today to discuss this issue is...
This is Christian Okafor, a news writer and political commentator.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So the states involved in this protest include Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Ibadan, Kano, Borno, and many others. However, many southeastern states and most, if not all, Nigerian universities did not participate in the protest. Why do you think this is?
Well, there are myriad of reasons why the protest was seemed as though it was secluded from the southeastern states and the universities. So I'll talk about the southeastern states. If you look at the actions, the body language, the speeches, in fact, the speculations that were going on before the start of the protest, you will understand that there was a particular narrative that was flying around. Bayo Onanuga released a statement, and he talked about how the protest was being sponsored by Southeasterners and how it was sponsored by Peter Obi and how it was a ploy to unconstitutionally remove the government. So with talks like that, now one can have an insight into what was really going to happen. Because if you track back, you understand that most of the things that happen in Southeast, that happen all around the country, it is the ones that happen in the Southeast that are really dealt with a heavy hand.
So the Southeasterners didn't want a crackdown by the government. They didn't want people to assume. They didn't want the government to assume they were the ones sponsoring the protest.
Yes, I feel that is the reason. I feel that is the reason. And particularly, if I should give you an example, you realize that just a few months ago, there was an incident in one of the southeastern states, Abia State in particular, where shooting led to the death of police officers or soldiers. You saw how the issue was treated. You also saw how the issue was treated in Okwama, despite the fact that insecurity is a widespread phenomenon in the country.
Yeah.
So what do you think would happen if a protest erupted in the southeast and then was probably hijacked or turned out violent?
Yes.
It's very difficult to actually measure or control the outcome of this protest.
Yes.
So I think the Southeasterners had this psychological orientation as to what was going to happen if they took part in the protest.
Yes.
So I think that is why they are laid back. Not particularly because the government is not, the government policies are not affecting them.
Yes.
No, they feel affected, but you see, they believe that if they should join the protest, their own will be,
Worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and for universities, I think why universities are being laid back. But I still find it difficult to understand the laid backness of universities.
The NUC, the chairman of the NUC, he issued a directive to the vice chancellors of universities to make sure that everything is safe and the order is maintained across universities. So I do, on my part, I believe that the reason why that directive was issued was because Nigeria has a track record of having peaceful protests turn violent.
Yes.
And this particular protest is not different. So I'm sure the NLC is fearing destruction of university buildings, properties. In fact, we have reports of some states, government houses, some government infrastructure being set on fire. So this is already happening. And I believe it's one of the fears of the NLC and part of the reason why Nigerian universities have continued their school activities in spite of the nationwide protest.
I believe that. I believe that because you understand that the demographic of people in Nigeria
are mostly
young people.
Yes.
I know.
And in Nigeria as a whole,
yes,
we have a higher number of young people.
Yes, and there's a chance of the protests actually going out of hand in Nigerian universities, and it does nobody no good. So I think You see, these are the beginning stage. This is the beginning stage of the protest. So there's a possibility that the students might join. But for now, I think the reason why students are laid back, as you said, the communique is part of it. And I think it's still the body language of the vice chancellors. You understand that even after the communique was issued, they didn't come out to threaten the students and say, if you protest, we'll bring in,
But the students still stayed back.
Yeah, so I think there were no incendiary comments. If you actually want to see what they would do, if they had issued incendiary comments or threatened, it would have led to one thing or another, or one comment or another that would have led to a protest. So it's too early to judge, actually. So there's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Well, in spite of the threats of damage to school property, like you said, Nigeria's demographic is made up of mostly young people. And most of these young people are found in universities. Do you think it's right for Nigerian students to sit back and let the elder ones or other, would they say, jobless graduates take the lead in these protests?
Well, like I said, the issue that is being protested against is
Economic hardship.
it's a widespread phenomenon, right? It doesn't actually affect a certain group of people, right? It affects the old, the young, every male, female, every single person is affected by government policies, affected by hardship, it's affected by hunger. So I wouldn't say it's right for them to sit back and wait for others to carry it out. But then you should realize that the protest that has happened today and the protest that is going to happen subsequently happened organically. Nobody was actually forced or persuaded
To come
to
up.
come out. You understand? So it was just a date. They were just talks leading to the protest, and on the day of the protest, people showed up.
Yeah.
So I think the youths, it's not right for them to sit back, but then you don't have to coerce them into coming out. They would come out on their own, because this is an issue that affects them too. Because even look at what is happening in campuses. The price of things are going up, even school fees, tuition fees, everything is really expensive. You can't get food at an affordable price. Housing is skyrocketing, is going off the roof. Every single thing, so it's affecting everybody. So if it will get to a point, it will actually get to a point where the student to be convinced to come out. They don't need anybody to, coerce them or tell them why they should join the protest or why they shouldn't join the protest.
Wow.
But, these are the early, like I said, these are the early, this is just the one. So
we're watching and we're waiting.
watching. Yeah, we're watching.
Okay. Well, as we speak, the protests are getting increasingly violent. Video footages from the scene from protest grounds show police firing tear gas at protestants. In fact, worrisome footages show police shooting men down. So protestants are being shot down. And many people have already died, and this is just day one. So many Nigerians fear a repeat of the bloodshed that occurred in 2020. I mean, we have not yet forgotten how many lives, how many sons and daughters were lost during the NSAS process. So we're fearing that already it's day one and this is a 10-day protest and people are already dying. Are we to expect this bloodshed to increase? Are we to expect a repeat of that incident? Or, are we to expect that it will go down and peaceful protests will ensue? Our requests will be heard.
We hope there is no repeat of what happened in 2020. We hope that the protest doesn't escalate to full-blown violence or violent conduct. We hope it doesn't. But you see, our hopes, what we hope for, might not actually be the reality.
They say expect the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yes. So I think one of the reasons why the protests are turning out this way is the response of the government. If you saw flyers or communiques or circulars that were issued before the protests, you find out that it was supposed to be a peaceful protest. It was supposed to be a march for
Yes.
people to, express their grievances.
Yes.
That was what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
That was what it was planned to be.
Yes.
Right? But
in fact, I saw earlier today. I saw videos of the police at Ibadan giving protestants a free ride during the protest. That's how peaceful it was. But just over time, they're seeing shootings, firing of tear gas. This was not what we had in mind.
Yes,
This was not what the protesters had in mind.
It wasn't. You see, the protests. When things happen like this, you realize that it's a two-part thing. The protestants, the people protesting, they have a part to play, just as much as the government has a part to play. So the government can actually dictate how the protests will turn out. So now, if the protests, even before the day of the protest, even before the day of the protest, we heard the government saying, giving threats, issuing threats. We saw them parading the armed forces in a show of force.
Armed forces were stationed at various protest grounds, even at Lekki toll gate.
Yes, we saw all that. It's also that gives you, it shapes your psyche. It gives you a particular insight into what would happen. So the people that were planning for a peaceful protest, well, when they were going out today and they saw all the police vehicles and all the threats, and normally their mind will change. They will prepare for a violent conduct. And when it comes to that, they wouldn't be scared to resort to it. But then there's a possibility of protests being hijacked. So because, there are online reports that say that the protests happening, the destruction, the vandalism happening in Kaduna and Kano and all of these places are not being done by the protesters. And there is, when protests happen, a lot of things happen under the guise of protests. So there is a particular report that states categorically that the people causing the damages, the lootings, are not the protesters. So,
well, the thing is, even though they are not the protestants, the protests actually create an opportunity for thugs and louts to thrive and to, vandalize and loot. So that's something that occurs with protests naturally. Well, the thing is that curfews, due to this violence that's occurring in several states, curfews have been declared, especially in states like Kano State. But the thing is, the populace is wondering, is it truly an attempt to restore order? Or is the government just trying to silence the people? Before you answer that question, concerning the protests and violence, we would like, my school news, we would like to state that we would like to advise the protestants to please undergo a peaceful protest, just as we've planned beforehand. So we advise everyone out there that is on the protest grounds to ensure that they maintain peace and order even as they protest. A violent protest is not the way to gain anything from the government. So, like we said, curfews have been declared in some states, especially states like Kano State. So is this really an attempt? Is this really the government trying to restore order, or could it be said that is an attempt to silence the people? That's the question now that is running through many.
Well,
what's your take?
The curfews, the government might feel like it is the best thing to do, but have they tried other means? You see, why hasn't the president addressed the protesters? This is one of the salient questions that has been raised over and over and over again, even up from the days leading to the protest to today that the protest happened.
Yeah, and
we've not heard,
states.
Yes, we've not heard anything from the president of the country trying to, assuage the people from protesting, trying to,
address
them, you see.
Particularly.
So why? Even before the curfew, a curfew has to, but this is a very, very, very palpable situation. It can actually, go out of hand easily, and widespread violence could actually become the norm. But in those curfews, what is obtainable in curfews? If you look at what curfews are and what they seem to achieve, you can actually find out that this particular curfew is not to restore peace per se. It is to make sure people are indoors. It is to make sure that the protest is stopped, because we've looked over these past few weeks and we've seen that the government is more interested in making the protests not to happen than actually addressing the concerns of the people.
Because the truth is that protests are not enjoyable for anyone.
Yes.
No one likes to live their normal business, their normal day-to-day business. In fact, people are shutting down their businesses to come out on the streets. People are leaving their classes, living their day-to-day lives, disrupting their day-to-day lives to come out for these protests. For one reason, it has gotten to their necks. You know, the economic hardship has gotten to a point where Nigerians can no longer ignore it. We are known to be a people that laugh away our sorrows. We go online and we watch skits and we comment, if you come online, you will no longer feel any sadness. So it has gotten to the point where Nigerians can no longer endure this. So instead of, like my guest here would say, curfews are one way to try to restore order, but it's not the best way. The best way is to address the concerns of the people. Give us valid ways by which we can overcome this together. So together, like we always say, we can make Nigeria.
Yes. I would like to add, just like you said, protests are not enjoyable. Nobody wakes up in the morning where a government wakes up in a working country and decides to protest all of a sudden for no reason. People are asking for the bare minimum. They are asking for affordability of food. They are asking for employment. They are asking for the basic things of life. They're not asking for the moon or, ridiculous things. They're asking for the basic things.
To be able to afford rice.
The basic things.
In the north, it has gotten to the point where this rice called afafata rice, people are now eating the rice that is supposed to be discarded. When you process rice, there's a part of rice that's supposed to be thrown away, but people are now eating that one that is supposed to be thrown away. That's the one people are eating. In fact, reports are saying that some people are eating grass. So these hardships have really, really escalated to the point where we can no longer come online and laugh.
Yeah, and I'd like to chime in on that. There is a report actually that states that there are 4.4 million children starving in the north, starving to death in the north. So do you expect these things to happen and people to sit back and pretend like they're not happening? No. The protests are justified because the government has done nothing to ensure that the people feel better. They've done nothing to assuage the hardship of the people. They've done nothing. In fact, they've just gone on to do things that are insensitive. You look at the response of the government to the hardship of the people. You see the response. Why people are complaining of hardship. The government renovated the vice president's residence for 21 billion. And why people were complaining of hardship, a private jet was purchased. Why they were complaining of hardship, the Senate president yesterday made a very insensitive comment about how they will be eating and the people will be protesting. So you see, Nigerians, they've had enough. They've had enough.
And the truth is that what the government has done thus far has not been enough. The sharing of the rice, you don't give a man fish, you teach him how to fish. The sharing of rice can only feed a family for a week or two at most. The oil and gas interviews that to show you the extent of the hardship in the country, when the application for job was put on NNPC's website, the website crashed.
Yes.
Due to the sheer amount of people that were applying. It has really gotten very bad in this country. In fact, even the 25,000 naira that was supposed to be paid to the poorest families, a lot of people are complaining that because of the corruption and the methods of distribution, it is not getting to the hands of the people that actually need it. So although something has been done, it has not been enough. So we are moving on to... So the next question I have for you here is the role of social media in this protest. It's just the one, and it's all anyone can talk about. it's trending online. The whole of Nigeria is abuzz with this news. So everyone is on social media venting their grievances. People are posting live footage of themselves at the protest grounds. A lot of information is being shared on social media. What do you think is the role? What role do you think social media is playing in this protest?
Well, I think social media is very critical, very important to this protest. It's very, very important because social media will create the awareness of what's going on. Right? So it's very important. You cannot talk about the protest without talking about the role of social media. Social media is very necessary. But you see, a lot of things can go on. There can be misinformation. There can be, a lot of things can go wrong. But then, we cannot deny it. Social media is very important. And earlier today, we saw what was happening with the telecommunications, the networks.
Yes.
They were really bad, and some people were alleging that it was,
The government
an attempt to make sure the people do not have access to social media during a time such as this. So it goes a long way to show you how important social media is, because now when we protest, why are we protesting? What will the protest do? It is the buzz that the protest will generate online
Yes.
that will actually lead to
The fact that everybody's
awareness generally.
everybody's saying this,
Right.
everybody's
Yes.
having one mind, everybody's protesting against
Yes.
it. Yes.
So it's very important.
That buzz is needed.
It's very needed. It's very needed.
And it's also important to say that news has moved on from the traditional way. News has moved on from those traditional methods of circulation to different methods now. How many young people actually switch on there in NTA? How many young people in fact, how many students have TVs in their homes to listen to news channels? Most of us now get our news on this social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's where news is gotten. So if social media plays a crucial role in this protest, in getting people to canvassing people to come up, even in quieting the social media, the protest itself. If you can come on social media, in fact, if the government can release a statement, a video, anything on social media to assuage the fears of the people, it will go a long way in reducing the amount of protestants. In fact, in making sure that the protest itself ends on the day it's supposed to end and goes on peacefully.
Yeah, you just like you said, Eve, it reminds me of what happened in Kenya when the protests in Kenya, escalated, and a lot of things happened, and a lot of vandalism and everything happened. The president of Kenya organized a Twitter space for Kenyans. There were over 25,000 people that joined that Twitter space to actually speak with their president. So that's to show you how important social media is. There is a possibility of this protest ending sooner than expected, if the president can actually come on social media and tell people what they are planning to do. I think some people are actually tired of hearing what they are planning to do. If I actually show them the steps that they are taking, the quick steps, just like I'm trying to
because it's not enough to do a good thing. You must show the people that I am doing this thing. You do not know the good you are doing. You assume you are doing bad.
Yes, just like I said, I'm just trying to juxtapose what happened in Kenya to what's happening today in Nigeria. They were protesting about a particular finance bill that they saw as extortionary. So you needed to see the speed with which the bill was withdrawn. So the action was taken, right? No, the president didn't just come and tell them, we will. He came out, he spoke to them, and
he took
action. So if three out of the 10 demands of Nigerians are treated, in fact, between now and the weekend, we could see the protests quiet down for a bit. So social media is very important. And I'm still hammering on the same thing. The president can make use of social media to actually get the people to settle down a bit. He can. But over the past year, He hasn't addressed people. He comes out, he makes choreographed statements.
It seems like the government is afraid of social media rather than using it.
Yes, I think that's true.
We've had instances where Twitter was shut down. Nigerians were not given
during the last regime.
Yes. So in as much as social media can be used to incite protest, it can also be used to quiet down protest.
Yes.
So it's a tool that, if used wisely, can help to further the growth of the country. So
I'm actually still believing in the fact that if the president can come out and talk to the people, not send an aid, not make a choreographed statement, not write one of those vague, sentences or vague essays that they normally write, or just say vague things. If the president can come out and talk to the people, from a leader to the people, some people might actually backtrack. You understand?
Yeah.
So instead of trying to frustrate them through social media,
and it make them feel like their voices
are being heard. Yes.
Do you know what it is to be on a Twitter space with your president? You will feel like, I'm being heard.
Yes.
They are going to do something about
it.
They are actually listening to me. It is when the citizens begin to feel like the government is not hearing us. They are not hearing our plea. That's when they resort to such measures.
I even think that the protest actually happened because we felt that the government was rubbing it in our faces that we could do nothing. Because over the past 1 year, this hardship has been endemic and nothing has been done. And when you raise these issues, they just reply them with very, very, very insensitive comment. You say that there is shortage of food. The first lady will tell you to grow food in your backyard. That's, things like this. You say the minimum wage has to be raised. Then the government will tell you that that's when they need to buy a private jet or they need to renovate a residence. You see,
it's like they're not listening.
Yes, the response is they have not been in tandem to what the people are actually talking about. So if the government can actually, for once, listen to the people and actually proffer solutions, not just spoken words, actually take actions, because some of these things, we saw that even before the protest, that the government, brought in truckloads of rice, and it was alleged, because we are not sure, it was alleged that the price of rice crashed to, I think, 40,000 naira.
Yes.
So we see these things can be done easily. So these things that we are demanding for are not too hard to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are things that can be done. They can be done. The government has the capacity to do them. If they want to do them today, I believe they can do it. They can do it. They can take a step. I believe this country can get better if there are steps taken. If there are steps taken to make sure the government can get it. You don't just have people enjoying a certain salary, people in politics enjoying. Why there is hardship? The disparity, the wealth disparity is one of the reasons people are frustrated. Now, it's not just the hardship. People are up there. People we elected are enjoying. People we elected to represent us are enjoying. While we are here, we are complaining of hunger, we are complaining of lack, we are complaining of everything.
And on the same social media, we are seeing them traveling out.
And we are seeing them troll us on social media too. So what do you expect to happen?
We come on social media with our 50 MB.
Yes, and then
we see videos of them enjoying.
And trolling us.
It makes it even harder.
It makes it harder.
Okay, so some have said that protests, and like we said, Nigerians are feeling like they are not heard. And they say that protests and strikes are the only measures that Nigerian government will listen to. Shown with the ASU strike and all that. So the question is that, is there any hope, actually, that this protest will bring Nigeria the change that they want to see, the results that they would like to see?
I think this protest is hinged on hope entirely. There is a hope, and that's why we are protesting. Now we are protesting because we believe that the protest will actually get the government to heed the cry of the people.
Yes.
That's why we are protesting. We believe that they have the capacity to alleviate the hardship of the people.
Yes.
And we believe that the protest is one way to make sure they hear our voices. We've been tweeting about it, we've been writing about it, they have been sending open letters to the president about it. Nothing seems to have been done about it.
One positive aspect of a protest, you could say, is that it actually shows that the populace, that's the people, still have a level of faith in the government. Because you wouldn't ask someone to do something you don't believe they can do. It shows that the citizens still have a level of hope in their country. That's why we are on the streets. That's why we are risking our lives for this change.
Yeah, we believe that the government has the capacity to do what they should do.
If they want.
And we believe that if they can't do it, if they don't have the capacity to do it, they should resign. It is not the first time political officers or public officers are leaving because of their incapacity to do jobs. It's just that
the Prime Minister
yes,
is an example.
Yeah, we've had like not just one, we've had like, you know, two or three prime ministers of Britain that resigned because they could not do what they promised to do. So what we are saying is fix the problems, right? Fix the problems. If you can't fix the problems, you vacate. You cannot just sit tight onto power and enjoy all the privileges that come with being in office and be unable to do, you know, yes, we elected you for God's sake. We elected you. You were elected for a particular reason to actually serve the interest of the people. We didn't elect you to go there and enjoy. We didn't elect you to fly around and have this luxury that others don't. That was not why they were put in there. They were put in there to make sure the citizens have a good life. They were put in there to make sure that things in the country work well. They were put in there to make sure that the country itself is working well. So if they are not doing that, we have the power to recall them, to tell them to resign.
Yeah.
And they will.
And that's democracy.
Yes, that's what democracy is all about. It's for the people, right? It's for the people. Yeah. You are there for the people. You are there because, in fact, we believe that that is one of the reasons why we are protesting. Is either you fix the issues. If you can't fix the issues, then you will have to leave. Oh. You have to leave.
So thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Well, fellow Nigerians, the protests have begun in earnest, and only one thing is certain. We can no longer turn a blind eye to the ongoing hardships in Nigeria. We pray the protests bring about the results we all long to see. God bless Nigeria.
My School News TV, giving you a voice.